In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Have you ever felt completely alone in a crowded room, just because of what you believe? Maybe it happens at work when the conversation takes a turn, and suddenly you're the punchline to a joke. Maybe it's at the family dinner table, where the people you love the most look at you like you've lost your mind. Or maybe it's just that heavy, quiet exhaustion that creeps in when you realize how much standing up for your faith is actually costing you. If you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you're feeling the weight of that right now. You're tired. You're facing pushback, mockery, or maybe even losing relationships, and you're secretly asking yourself a really hard question. How much longer can I keep taking this? I want to talk to you today, just as a friend. Not to preach at you, not to throw empty cliches your way, but to have a real, honest conversation about what to do when your faith is under fire. Because here is the raw truth. Holding onto your faith when everything and everyone around you is pushing against it is one of the hardest things you will ever do. But it is also the exact place where your faith becomes real. Why does this happen? When the pushback starts, our first reaction is usually confusion. We think, I'm trying to do the right thing, I'm trying to love people, I'm trying to follow God. So why is my life getting harder? We silently buy into this idea that if we do the right things, the road will be smooth. But who actually promised us an easy road? There was a fascinating scientific experiment a few decades ago called Biosphere 2. Scientists built this massive, perfectly controlled indoor environment. They planted a forest inside it, gave it the perfect amount of water, the perfect soil, and the perfect light. And the trees grew. They grew incredibly fast. But then, something strange happened. Before they could reach their full height, the trees just collapsed. They fell over under their own weight. Do you know why? Because inside that perfect, controlled environment, there was no wind. Out in the real world, when a tree is constantly battered by the wind, the stress causes it to grow something called reaction wood. The roots are forced to dig deeper into the earth to hold on. The wind, the very thing fighting against the tree, is exactly what makes it strong enough to stand tall. Without the wind, the trees had no deep roots. They looked completely healthy on the outside, but the second they got heavy, they broke. If you are facing opposition right now, the wind is blowing hard against your life. And it is completely natural to want the wind to stop. But what if that exact resistance is the only way your roots can grow deep enough to sustain you? James, the brother of Jesus, wrote something that used to deeply frustrate me. In James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4, he says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." He doesn't say if you face trials. He says whenever. And he doesn't tell us to be happy about the pain that would be toxic. He tells us to find joy in what the pain is producing. It is producing roots. It is building a faith in you that cannot be easily broken. How do we stand firm? So, how do we actually do this? How do we wake up every day and choose to stand firm when it feels like a losing battle? We have to systematically change where we are finding our validation. Let's break this down practically. First, we have to expect the pushback. When we are surprised by opposition, we panic. We think something has gone terribly wrong. But listen to the words of Jesus in John chapter 15. He said, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." He told us exactly what was going to happen. Jesus never sugarcoated the cost of following him. When you start living differently, speaking differently, and loving differently than the culture around you, it makes people uncomfortable. Sometimes, the mockery or the rejection you are facing isn't actually about you at all. It's about the light inside of you exposing the dark rooms they are trying to hide in. Don't take it personally. Expect the wind, and don't panic when it blows. Second, we have to stop trying to fight alone. Where do you go when you are running on empty? The greatest tactic to destroy a person's faith is isolation. If you can be separated from the herd, you can be taken down. Think about the story of Paul and Silas in the book of Acts. They were beaten, dragged through the streets, and thrown into the darkest, deepest part of a prison cell just for helping someone. They were literally bleeding and locked in chains. What did they do? Did they sit in silence and stew in their frustration? No. Acts 16 tells us that around midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Notice that there were two of them. Paul wasn't singing alone. Silas wasn't praying in a vacuum. They leaned on each other. When you are under heavy persecution or pressure, you cannot survive in isolation. You need people who will look you in the eye and say, "I know you're tired, but we are not giving up today." You need a community that understands the cost and is willing to pay it alongside you. Third, we have to remember who holds the ending. When you are being criticized or pushed down, your world shrinks. All you can see is the problem in front of you. The unfair boss. The hurtful family member. The online comments. But I want to remind you of one of the most comforting things Jesus ever said. In John 16 verse 33, he leaves us with this final, beautiful promise. "In this world you will have trouble. But take heart. I have overcome the world." He didn't say he will overcome it. He said he has overcome it. The ending is already written. The victory is already secure. You are not fighting for victory right now. You are fighting from a place of victory. The real question. So, where does this leave us right now, today? It leaves us with a choice. When the heat gets turned up, it's really tempting to just blend in. It's tempting to stay quiet, to water down what we believe, and to just go with the flow so people will accept us. But I want to challenge you today with a question. Are you willing to be misunderstood for a little while, to gain something that lasts forever? The people who criticize you today cannot save you tomorrow. Their opinions are just breath and air. They change with the seasons. But the truth of God, that is a rock. That is a foundation you can actually build a life on. I know you are weary. I know it takes a massive amount of courage to keep showing up, to keep loving people who are hurting you, and to keep holding on to a faith that costs you your comfort. But please, hear me today. Your deep roots are forming. The wind is doing its work. You are not crazy. You are not alone. And the God who sees every tear, every rejection, and every quiet moment of frustration is standing right beside you, holding you up when your knees want to buckle. We are in this together. If you needed to hear this today, I just want to encourage you to take a deep breath. You're going to make it through this storm. If this message brought you some comfort or helped you make sense of the heavy season you're in, please hit the like button so this video can reach someone else who might be sitting in a dark room feeling completely alone right now. And if you want to keep building a faith that survives the real world, a faith that doesn't just look pretty on Sunday but actually works on a really hard Tuesday afternoon, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep having these conversations. Let's keep growing our roots deep together. I am praying for your strength this week. Keep standing tall. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.